Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Oh, hang on, got to just turn that down. Um, Sorry, I've just got to turn my phone down. So, whew, bet you're surprised to see me on here at this time of night, where I am anyway. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm based in Spain. It is 25 past 11 in the evening. It's very rare for me to do late streams. I'm normally a morning streamer or afternoon. I'm not, normally even awake at this time, but tonight I am. And, of course, all my time has been taken up with the Preston Davy case, which it sort of finished today, really, wasn't it, with the sentencing of the Monster 1 and Monster 2. I've just spent a little bit of time getting all their photographs off my computer. Oh my God, it felt fantastic. I don't have to look at their faces anymore. I'm not talking about Preston. I will talk about Preston forever, and his photos will stay on my computer, and I will be showing them in streams when it's appropriate, when we're talking about things to do with it. But to get those photos off of those monster dads was brilliant. And I was going to have a couple of days off. But that here's another case. Now some news has come out. This is another adorable little boy, probably betrayed by people that should have looked after him. And this is the case of Gus Lamont. And I know a lot of this is in Australia. A lot of you have been following this case with me. I have a lot of Australian followers. But this case is another one of those mystery cases. The thing is, the cases we end up following, I think, are the ones that are the most mysterious and, unfathomable. Gosh, can't even say that word. Unfathomable cases that we don't know what happened to Gus. So I'm going to give you an outline of the case, just in case it is a case that maybe you don't know about or you haven't watched my videos about it. And it is, some of the cases that we covered, Preston's sadly one of them. They're just you literally you cannot believe that these things happened in real life. I think this is another similar thing. It's like something, if you saw it in a film, you'd think it was far-fetched. But to know that this has actually happened and all the circumstances, the family circumstances, just so tragic for Gus. Because, of course, the people that are important are the victims. Now I'm calling Gus a victim. We don't know what's happened to Gus. We don't know for 100% certain that he is dead. But the police think he is. And that's what happened in this case. Gus disappeared into thin air, didn't he? From where he lived on a very remote sort of sheep farm in Yunta near Adelaide in Australia. Huge sprawling place, the buildings, but not only that, so much land attached to it. It's a massive place. Little Gus lived there, 4 years old, with his mum Jess, his little brother. He's got a little baby brother, and his two GMAs. Now, this is what makes this case different, I suppose you can say as well. It's not a traditional sort of family environment, if you like. Little Gus had two GMAs because one of his GMAs used to be a GPA. Well, he wasn't really, because Gus wasn't born until after Josie Murray I always forget what her name was before she transitioned. But anyway, she was a man till 10 years before Gus went missing. And this is Josie. So that is one of Gus's GMAs on the left hand side. That's Josie. The GMA on the right hand side is Shannon. And they stayed together after Josie transitioned in her 60s when she transitioned, because she's 75 now. They stayed together. Now, as I've said in many a video, I don't know if they're in, still in a sentimental relationship, or just if it was just for convenience, because they live together in the same place, possibly, easier for them to live together. They obviously must still be on speaking terms. So Shannon, because it must have been difficult for Shannon. If you've been married all those years and then suddenly, I'm not saying that he suddenly decided at 60 he wanted to be a woman. Maybe he'd wanted to be a woman for much longer than that. But, society was different, wasn't it? Maybe, that's why. Maybe he'd been living like a woman in the house for a long time. Just don't know. We don't know all the circumstances of it, do we? But these are the two. So Gus was in a position where he had two GMAs, as opposed to a GPAR and a GMAR. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Tracy. So somebody's still up and in the chat. I'm going to say my thank yous in a minute, etc. So that's the background to this case. Then one day, supposedly Gus was being looked after, him and his little brother, by Shannon, the GMA there with the little hat on that reminds me of Mrs. Pepper Pot. And he was playing in the sand, on a sand pile outside the house. And he was left unattended, a 4-year-old left unattended for half an hour. So there are some parallels, I think, with this case with Preston Davey, though of course Preston Davey was a baby, but as well as not leaving a baby unattended in a bath like Preston sadly was left, you don't leave a 4-year-old to his own devices for 30 minutes, do you, on a great big sprawling farm type sheep shearing place where there's a lot of dangers, a lot of things that might have happened to Gus, like accidental wise, but his body has not been found. Initially it was thought he'd wandered off, and there's been massive searches, etc. Anyway, he's never been found. Nothing has been found, not his clothes, the hat he was wearing. There's no evidence of, animals taking him away. There was one boot print found. One boot print. Very weird. Anyway, this is what happened in this case. So before I carry on to sort of tell you why I'm doing this video, because you know what, Josie, the GMA, the Crocodile Dundee, she just reminds me of Crocodile Dundee. Sorry, I shouldn't be facetious, but do you know what? Hey, I've had a tough week, and that's what she ran. Just being honest, she's a very aggressive looking woman to me. But anyway, and she's done some very aggressive. She's going to appear on a TV show, 7 News show, and she's going to talk about how difficult it's been for her. So why is she speaking out now? I mean, I am completely intrigued with this. I cannot wait to see Josie speak in person, because we've heard so much about her, and the things we've seen about her, they haven't been good. She's been very aggressive, coming out with a pump action shotgun to threaten a reporter, pushing the other reporters out of the way, pushing them over when she came out of court this week, because she has been in court this week for an unrelated incident which was the illegal possession of a silencer for her gun that fitted on her gun. So that's illegal in Australia. So she has been in court and she was convicted and she was fined, I think it was $11,000 or more or less that. So a cynical person might say, is she being paid for this interview that she's doing with 7 News? Is it to pay her fine that she's got for the silencer? Or is she genuinely wanting to, put her point across? At the end of the day, she has been declared a suspect by all but name by the police. And if she isn't guilty of doing anything to Gus, that must be a terrible thing. She's been interviewed, but she has not been charged. The house has been searched, but the only thing they found was that silencer. The police haven't got enough evidence together to arrest Josie or Shanann, because they're both suspects. So if she isn't guilty of doing anything to Gus, it must be a horrible experience. So I am absolutely fascinated to hear it, because of course when you see someone speaking in person, we've only seen pictures of Josie and she does look scary, doesn't she? Especially when she had that pump action shotgun in her hand and when she was pushing reporters out of the way. You get this, view of her that's sort of not very good, if you like, of her. Now, it may be that she'll come over in the interview much better. Maybe we'll feel sorry for her by the end of the interview, because it would be awful to be accused of, doing something to your grandchild when you hadn't, would be awful, and all the aspersions that have been cast on her. So I can't wait to see this interview. I'm going to tell you about it anyway. So first of all, thank you so much to all of you for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for caring about all these cases that we talk about, especially these little ones. Poor Gus, something's happened to him because he hasn't been seen since last September. So, where is he? The police have proclaimed it a major crime, said they think he's dead. They've said that in no uncertain terms. So that must be a shock for his mum. This is his mum and dad, his mum Jess, and his dad, I think he's Josh. I think they're all the J's. They have another son, but they had split up and Jess had gone to live with her mum and dad. I mean, essentially, Josie and Shanann are Jess's mother and father, or now she's got 2 mothers, because Josie has transitioned to be a woman. So, it's a difficult family dynamic, let's say. And Josh, the father, he's reportedly doesn't get on with Josie at all. Josie allegedly, again, these are things that people are saying. Josie thought he was not good enough for her daughter because he was just like a work hand, and I don't know what, Josie obviously thinks that's not good enough for her daughter. And so they clashed a lot, apparently. So Josh and Jess had split up, but he was doing an old house up I think it's about an hour away from this place, where he could have the children at weekends and things. I think they were relatively amicable. I don't know if they're speaking now, what the situation is now. Poor Jess, to hear what the police had said, that now her 2 mums, essentially are prime suspects in the disappearance of her son. That'd be a tough pill to swallow, wouldn't it? So it's a right mess, isn't it, this whole case? And another one that's very sad, and at the heart of it, a little boy, little Gus, right at the heart of it. Where is Gus? If Josie hasn't done anything to him, as the police think, well, where is he? You know, where is this little one? So I want to say special thank you to my members. Thank you to those. I think I've put in the chat there how you can join. Special member. Special thank you to those of you who've bought me Ko-fis, etc. I think the Ko-fi link is there, but I will put it up again. Yeah, I appreciate all the positive ways that you appreciate my channel. Thank you so much. But just liking, subscribing, sharing, all those things, all the free things are good as well. You know, excellent, great ways that you support my channel. But yeah, some of you go the extra mile, join the channel. We're doing a members live every second Thursday. And some of you buy Ko-fis, send emails, leave nice comments, all those things. Thank you so much. So yeah, where is this little one? Where is Gus Lamont? You know, people do not, not even little boys, do not disappear into thin air, do they? Someone knows where Gus is. So the reason that the police then decided to declare it a major crime is that, in their opinion, there is no proof that Gus wandered off. They've searched and searched. No trace of him has been found. As I say, not any of his clothes, his hat that he was wearing, nothing has been found. No trace of this boy. So the police, a couple of months ago, declared, in their opinion, it was not an abduction. It was not a case of Gus wandering off and getting lost. It was a case of a major crime, and that, in their opinion, this little boy is deceased. And they said that they had a prime suspect. At the time, they only mentioned one suspect. Though now there are two, apparently, which is likely to be the two GMAs. And the police said they had a prime suspect who was someone who was living with Gus at the time when he went missing, but it wasn't his mum or dad. So they excluded Gus's parents as suspects. Well, that only left, you know, Crocodile Dundee and Mrs. Pepper Pot, didn't it? They're the only other family members that were living there with Gus, apart from his little brother. I doubt if his little brother had anything to do with it, seeing how he's only a baby. So yeah, so the police, without actually naming Josie and Shannon as suspects, they have named them because they said it's someone who Gus was living with, and it's not his mum or dad. So if it's not his mum or dad, these are the only two other people that it could be. So these two ladies then lawyered up. They went off, got themselves a lawyer, separate lawyers. Now, we don't know where they are at the moment. You know, are they still living at the homestead? Because the police keep going back there to search. They went back only recently because there was some torrential rains. So they went back to the property to search again because they thought that, you know, something might have been dislodged by the rain. Anyway, they didn't find anything again. So they've been back a few times on this, but they've said they're going to keep going back. The police's opinion is that Gus has been either killed, he's dead, he's been killed, either accidentally or deliberately. They don't know which of those things. And one or both of these women did it, not only did it or know about it, because it could have been an accident, that they're covering up, of course. You know, it may not be that they deliberately meant to kill Gus. I mean, if he had an accident and they decided not to, you know, tell the authorities that, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what's happened to Gus, but these are the theories, aren't they? But something happened to him. something happened to him. He's not been seen since last September, and no trace of him has been found. So either it seems unlikely anyone could have abducted him because of the geography of the place. It'd be impossible, really, to abduct Gus. That's what the police think anyway, and they don't believe he wandered off. So the police believe firmly that one or both of these ladies know exactly what has happened to Gus. Now, as I say, if Josie didn't have anything to do with it, and she spent all this time, because as I say, this is last September he went missing, and that would be horrible. That would be horrible. Could it be that the police are wrong? That Josie doesn't know anything about what happened to Gus? Is it possible? Of course it's possible, isn't it? Everyone's innocent till proven guilty, and in fact, Josie hasn't even been charged. But it's funny what the police have done, really. They haven't charged her, they haven't arrested her, they haven't charged her, they've questioned her, but they've made it perfectly clear, without actually naming her, that she is the prime suspect. And in one of these times when they went back to the property to search, they found a silencer. And that is what Josie's just recently been in court for, and she's got a big fine to pay. She was found guilty, she's got a big fine to pay. And apparently she's been in trouble for not a lot of firearms. She's got a lot of firearms, and she was in trouble before for not securing them properly. Not because you're allowed to have firearms, aren't you? You've got license, but you're supposed to keep them locked up, aren't you? Well, she was in trouble for not securing them properly before. So is that something that might have happened? Did Gus, like any inquiring little boy, see a gun, decides he's going to play, cowboys and Indians or whatever, and an accident happened? Is that what happened to Gus? He's another beautiful little boy lost to this world, just like Preston, never given a chance of a life. Though we don't know for certain that he's dead because his body hasn't been found, but he wouldn't be difficult to hide, would it? I mean, at the end of the day, a tiny little boy like Gus would not be hard to hide his body. So Josie, she has decided, here she is in the interview. This is like a clip from the interview. A photo from the interview. The whole interview is going to be released over this weekend. Oh, I will be recording it and we will be watching it together. I cannot wait to see Josie speak and try and get a sense, have I been unfair to her by going, at the end of the day, it's the police that have declared her as a suspect, not me. Is she innocent? And this would be terrible, wouldn't it, to be accused of, practically really accused of murdering your grandson, and you were innocent? Would be terrible. So should we feel sympathy for this, for Josie? And the only way I want to watch her speaking, and get my own sense of what I think. Is she lying? Is she, we'll have our Pinocchio, for the members, we'll have our Pinocchio emoji handy. We might need it when we're covering this interview. Let me just, hang on, let's put some Pinocchios on. Now, we may not need it. Why are they doing that? Why can't I? Oh, hang on. Oh, it's not letting me. But anyway, never mind. So, Pinocchio. I've got Pinocchio emoji for my members. Will we be needing it when we listen to Josie talking? or will she come over as genuine? She looks quite genuine there, to be honest. She looks very sad. But do you know what? You probably would be sad, even if it's been an accident and a cover up. It's still possible that she would be sad. But anyway, I'm looking forward to getting my own impression, of whether Josie can be believed or not. The police don't think so, and of course the police, whatever people say about the police, they get intuitions and hunches about things. And the other reason that the police say that Josie became a suspect is because they said it was conflicting accounts. They were being given conflicting accounts of what had happened on the day Gus disappeared. That, they kept going back and interviewing the two GMAs, and the accounts were conflicting. So, that's not good, is it? So I think that's part of the reason why the police are sort of anti, have declared Josie. Oh, I realise now why I can't do my Pinocchio. Hang on a minute. Just got to change this. So, yeah, it's going to be on 7 News and we're going to follow it. But we're going to have a little preview of it, or a little, I found, people are talking about it, obviously. It's a very, what's the word? I'm on the wrong one here, am I? Am I on the wrong one? Sorry, I'm on the wrong, I'm on my wrong account, that's the problem. Oh no, that's the right account. But I'm watching the wrong one. Sorry, hang on. Technology is great when it's in it. We'll get there. I'm determined to get these get these Pinocchio emojis up. Finally. So yeah, we're going to just look at sort of, gosh, what else did I want to tell you about Josie now? If you've been watching my channel and these videos I've been making about this, you will know that a Daily Mail reporter turned up at Josie's house one day, at this farmstead, sheep station. And Josie came out brandishing a pump-action shotgun and threatened the Daily Mail report, told her to go away, shouted at her, etc. And she is a very aggressive woman. So she was very aggressive. She cut a very formidable figure, because she's got like muscles, like Arnold Schwarzenegger would be proud of her muscles. And, she was brandishing this shotgun. So it was very scary, and shouting at her to go away, which didn't do her any favours. Now, it may be that she's just a fiery person, but, quick to anger like that with guns around is not a good mix, is it? And now a little boy's disappeared. What happened to Gus? And then, of course, when she came out the courtroom this week, she pushed a reporter out of the way. Another reporter, she took the what do you call it, like the cover off off their mic and threw it on the floor. This woman, she is aggressive, and so she's not done herself any favors, has she? By being so aggressive. There's a little boy missing that the police are accusing her of knowing what's happened to him, and she's just going around being aggressive with everyone. So it just makes her look guilty, which of course does not mean that she is guilty, though, of course. So it's this is why it'd be good to hear her interview, won't it? To see her speak in person and to decide, is she hiding something, or has she been wronged? Is it a prejudice against her being transsexual? That can happen. Or do the police have cause to suspect Josie? Police are saying it's because of the conflicting accounts. So just wanted to show you this when I find it. Let's just look at this article first, and then we're going to listen to something. But so it's going to be on 7 News. I mean, they've got a real scoop, because Josie hasn't wanted to speak to anybody. She won't even speak to the police now. And now suddenly she's doing an interview. As I say, you could be cynical and think, well, is she being paid for it? Is this to pay off that big fine that she's just got for the silencer? Or is she genuinely just wants to put over her perspective and how this is affecting her? And we may end up, after we've seen the interview, will we end up feeling sorry for her? And think, oh, maybe she has been wronged. And why now? It's strange, isn't it? Why is she speaking up now? All these months, nothing. Not wanting to speak to anybody, and then now suddenly she's doing an interview. So apparently, grandmother of missing toddler Gus Lamont breaks silence in a major 7 News Spotlight exclusive. New details about the mysterious case of the 4-year-old who vanished will be revealed for the first time. So strange, isn't it? Wonder why she is just deciding what to do this now. So she will speak for the first time, asking how the 4-year-old disappeared in the remote outback at the family's Oak Park station near Yunta on September the 27th last year. Murray, a central figure in the investigation into Gus's disappearance, reveals the toll of the past 9 months. 9 months, including the pain of being identified as a key suspect and the moment that still troubles her about the day the 4-year-old vanished. We say how, why, we just can't believe it, Murray tells 7 News Spotlight. To be accused of doing something like this, you could not wish a more horrible experience on anyone. So these are the things she's going to say. Be interested. It'll be interesting. So in the interview, Murray, who was interviewed by police but never charged, also reflects on the moment from the day Gus disappeared that continues to trouble her. So there's a little teaser there that some information, she's going to give some information that we don't know. The investigation will uncover the potential clues police may have missed during the major crime probe into the missing boy, spanning 9 months and 11 searches of the Outback station. There appeared to be something there, Murray says. Now look, why is she telling a news station this? That's the police she needs to tell that to. That's a bit suspicious in itself. Anyway, looking at this photo, you get a bit of an idea of this is just a tiny part of the land around this station, just a tiny part. It's huge. Oh, and there's Gus on his little bike, that lovely. His mum released a haunting video of him, on his bike with the sunset in the background. And that hat he's wearing on that bike, on that photo, that he was wearing that the day he went missing. It's never been found. So 7 News Adelaide crime reporter Hannah Ford joins Michael Usher to piece together the timeline and the unanswered questions in one of Australia's most perplexing missing persons cases. This is the interview that could provide answers to the many questions being asked about the disappearance of little Gus. His grandmother has never spoken before, but in an extraordinary set of circumstances has now given her first interview. So it's going to be on 7 News Adelaide this Sunday at 6 p.m, obviously Australian time, followed by the full interview on Spotlight at 8:40 on 7 and 7 Plus. So I'm going to find that one way or another. I'm going to record that and we'll watch it together sometime next week. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, let's see. There was sound down on that. Podcast with Graham Goodings, who is obviously an Australian radio presenter. Mornings with Graham Goodings. Let me share it. Just hear what he's got to say, just to finish off. Oh, I think my sound just went off. I think my sound went off for a minute there, but I do believe I am back. Yeah, I think so. Let me just check. I can check on here. Yeah, I am back. Good. Let's see. I'm just seeing if you can hear this or not. You can't hear it, can you? Right, hang on. I'll take it off and put it back on again. Yeah, it's the sound's not coming out on your. So if I stop sharing and then share again, that sometimes it works then. For some reason, when I swap over from one thing to another, sometimes it just doesn't work. Let's try this. Oh, do you think it's sharing?
Piece of hair, not a drop of blood, nothing to say what might have happened to this little boy. There has been 11 searches of that property.
I guess initially, Hannah, the thought was he's just wandered off and got lost somewhere and he'll be found, but that was not.
Right, it is working now. So I'll put it back to the beginning. And we just listen to this. It's only short. Just a radio.
The case.
They said about it.
That's right. That's
back
definitely
to the beginning. There you go.
Well, the tragic story of missing 4-year-old Gus Lamont has captured headlines since he vanished without trace in the South Australian outback. 7 News and Spotlight is set to reveal new details about what may have happened to the little boy. And someone who has covered the case from day one is 7 News' Hannah Ford. She joins us now. Hannah, good morning to you.
good morning.
Now, before we talk to you about the interview with the grandmother. Let's background the story. How did it all come about?
Yeah, so it's almost 9 months now. It'll be 9 months on the weekend since this little boy just disappeared into thin air. I still remember getting the phone call sort of a day after he went missing. That was grand final night at about 5 o'clock. His grandparent was with him at their family homestead in Yunta, outback, South Australia. Last time she saw him, he was paying an amount of dirt out the front of their family homestead and their land.
Now, I just want to say there's been controversy about which G-Mark, because they're saying now that it was Shanann that was with him. Was it Shanann that was looking after Gus and his little brother, or was it, she just said the grandparent. Which grandparent?
Oh, and that's where he was last seen. Since then, there has been not one trace found of this little boy, not a hat, not a shoe, not a piece of hair, not a drop of blood, nothing to say what might have happened to this little boy. There has been 11 searches of that property.
I guess initially, Hannah, the thought was he's just wandered off and got lost somewhere and he'll be found, but that was not the case.
That's right. That's definitely what police were working on. They've always told us that they were working on the theory that this little boy just simply wandered off. He did like to roam. He was adventurous. He knew this property and it was his playground. So it's certainly not, I guess it wasn't rare for him to wander a little bit from that homestead. So it was plausible that he just...
Look, a property like that, you can't leave a 4-year-old unsupervised. It's not his playground. It's an absolute danger. It's dangerous for a 4-year-old. 4-year-olds get into all sorts, don't they? You should never leave them alone for 30 minutes.
Wandered off. Police then changed their mind. This case took a very different turn, and in February they declared this case a major crime and told the public that they have a suspect, a main suspect, who is someone very close to the family and very close to Gus.
So, I mean, after the point it turned sinister, they had a suspect in mind. What happened then? I mean, as you've said, it's gone on for 9 months.
That's right. So we've been told that they have a main suspect. It was only in this interview that the grandmother has told us that she is that main suspect, according to what police have told her. So since then, there has been probably more of a focus on the family and their possible involvement in his disappearance. But there has still been several searches of that property. There's been 11 all up, and we're talking hundreds of hectares here, hundreds of police that have gone over every inch of that ground, of that property over and over again with drones, with planes. They have done everything they can to find whatever they can, and so far they've come up with nothing.
Was there any apparent reason? I mean, from what I recall, all the grandparents were considered to be, under question, to be at least investigated. It was narrowed down to one. What sort of evidence was there to suggest that one of the grandparents was involved?
To my knowledge, this is something that police may not ever, wouldn't probably reveal necessarily. It's their investigation. But from what I understand, the evidence is no evidence. We don't have any trace of this little boy. As I said, not the hat he was wearing, not the little T-shirt, not the boots. There is just nothing. It's like he just simply disappeared. So the only people at the time were his grandparents with him. So I think the problem is the only evidence is no evidence. So that's all police have to work on. Right?
Now, Hannah, you sat down and interviewed the grandmother. You obviously asked the question, was she responsible for Gus's disappearance? What was her reply?
I won't be giving that away yet, Graham. You'll have to tune in on that spotlight on at 8:40 on Sunday.
Well, I tried, Hannah.
I can...
Yeah, he's trying to get her to give some things away about the interview, but, you know, everyone, well, I certainly will be like waiting with bated breath to see what this Gma has to say.
It was a very good try. All I can say is that she reveals a lot.
A lot?
And she is very raw and emotional. I mean, I've been covering this for 9 months. I've been on that property at least 10 times now, and this is a woman that's been very hostile to the media and, in fact, hates the media with a passion.
So how was it that she was happy for you to interview her?
Well, she hip and shouldered me at court just only hours before we sat down. But I think she felt like now was time to tell her the truth. Yeah.
So this is the reporter that she pushed over at the court when we saw her coming out of the court the other day after she had a criminal case about the silencer. She came out and literally we saw her push a reporter out of the way and knock her over. It was her. It was her. She just said, oh, she shouldered me out of the way just a few hours before we sat down for the interview. It's odd this, isn't it? Because Josie, she has been very, very aggressive towards the media right from day one. You know, which is strange, isn't it, really? Because, you know, when somebody, you know, when a child goes missing like that, you would expect the family to want to engage with the media in the beginning. You know, surely it'd be like, find my grandchild, you know, please find my grandchild. What's happened to my grandchild? Get the news out there, get his photo. They were very reluctant to give a photo of Gus as well. And they only gave one photo initially, which was this one. This photo of him with his lovely curls. And that was a picture that was taken of him not long before he went missing, when he went to they went to sign him up for preschool. But you know, this what made me think: how long had Gus really been missing? Because finally, you know, it was September. He was supposed to be going to preschool, but where was he before that? When was the last time he was actually seen by anyone that wasn't the family? You know, I don't know. I expect the police know all that. And then the mum this year, when the police announced that it was a major crime in their opinion and Gus was probably dead, the mum issued them with this photo. So we've got two photos and also the video of him on his bike, that very haunting video with the sunset in the background. So yeah, you know, for seeing how it's a missing child, I don't think they were very forthcoming with asking the public for help in finding him. You know, that was a problem in the beginning, and Josie is particularly was very, very hostile towards the media. So why has she suddenly decided now to speak to the media? I wonder. And just a few hours earlier, she'd knocked this reporter over. Odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I won't give away all my secrets, Graham, but I can say that when we sat down, she felt like it was time to defend herself and her name and tell her sort of story.
Final question, Hannah. Would you say, as a result of your interview, we are any closer to finding out the mystery of the disappearance of Gus Lamont?
I can't tell you that either, Graham. Very good try. I can certainly say this is incredible insight, and there is a lot more information that the grandmother has revealed that we didn't know before. Certainly an interview worth watching.
And that's Sunday night on the Spotlight program.
That's right. We'll be on 7 News at 6 o'clock on Sunday, where we'll go into it a little bit more, and then the full hour-long show at 8:40. Certainly one not to miss.
Excellent. Well done, Hannah. Hannah Ford, 7 News Adelaide on the...
Well, I certainly will be trying my best to find where I can watch it. Obviously, I'm watching from Spain, but normally these kind of things are, you know, on news programs. You can normally find on YouTube or something like that, and they don't normally copyright you. You know, it won't matter anyway. I'll still be showing the interview at some point, not on Sunday, probably. Some point on Monday, because of course there's the time difference, etc. So it's going to be intriguing, isn't it? Putting her side of the story. Why now? What is her side of the story? What is she, you know, according to this reporter, I mean, to be fair, she would say, wouldn't she? Yeah, there's new insights. She's not going to say, oh, don't bother watching the interview, there's nothing new, is she? So she's bound to say, yeah, there's new insights, things we didn't know before. I am completely intrigued, but you know, the most thing that I'm intrigued about is, you know, it'd be good to hear Josie actually speak, try and get an insight into her true personality, because to be frank, what I've seen of Josie so far, it's not good, you know, because she's been so aggressive. Everything's been aggression. And, you know, it's made you feel like, well, yeah, but she probably did do something to him because she's so aggressive. But, you know, it might make us feel differently about it. Might make us look on Josie differently. Maybe we'll feel more sympathetic towards her. And yeah, if she has spent 9 months being blamed for something, you know, heinous, really. I mean, to be blamed for the death of your own grandchild is awful, isn't it? If it's not true, I mean, how awful. So we'll see. So watch this space. In the meantime, though, the other thing we have to remember is that this little one, little Gus, where is he? You know, where is he? Because he's got to be somewhere. Something's happened to him. He can't be alive unless he's been abducted. The only way he could possibly be alive now is if he has been abducted. But how could somebody abduct him on that remote, on that remote property without anyone hearing a car or something? You know, it's not a place where you would hear, surely hear, if somebody drove up there to abduct Gus. So that's where we are with this case. I'm just going to put a little virtual candle up for Gus, you know, all these cases that I cover, but especially the ones, these little ones, these little boys or girls like Jack and Lily Sullivan, or another one is Summer Wells, there's Sebastian Roger. These cases, you know, where do these missing children go? You know, they can't just vaporize into thin air. You know, he is somewhere. And somebody knows where he is. And is it Josie? Well, as I say, watch this space. I'll be covering that interview. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Gus. Please, 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 please subscribe. Leave your DNA on the subscribe button and the like button and the notifications button. And then, you know, as soon as I hear anything, or as soon as I've got the video ready for us to comment on, I'll be putting a notification out, and we'll chat about it. So yeah, I'll see you really soon, as always, in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Thank you. Thank you.